The discussing topic is about the troubleshootings of different types of problem that we are facing in our daily job. Who are working in the substations or in the power plant generating stations, switchyards are present. So inside the switchyard, the circuit breaker is the main material or main equipments through which the power are catering from the different level. So the different types of problems we are facing, the most important problem that we are facing, the circuit breaker does not or fail to close. The circuit breaker failed to close, circuit breaker failed to open, the spin charging problem, circuit breaker coil problems, circuit breakers dashboard problem, circuit breaker mechanically on off are not in easy conditions. So you have to overhaul the breaker with consult with the manufacturers or the OEM. But the first problem is that the circuit breaker failed to close. It is the main criteria you have to fulfill. And what types of problem may be there? Maybe the closing spring does not charge automatically. So what is the possible reasons of the closing spring does not charge, and what the corrective measures we have to take? From here we are getting knowledge. Faulty motor, so check or replace the motor. Limit switch fail to operate. If the limit switch fail to operate, check and ensure the mechanical leakage or mechanical changes inside the limit switch, that the NONC contacts are just doing well or not. If the NONC contacts are not doing the NONC, replace the limit switch accordingly. And the faulty motor case, you have to check the motors, that the motor is not in such torque that can close the circuit breakers. So you have to immediately replace the spin charging motor from the spare. So if you change the spin charging motor from the spare, so the problem of the faulty motor case on the required torque will be developed and the circuit breakers easily will be closed. So the MCB of the motor circuit has tripped due to if some problem inside the motor, so the supply cannot be continuing to the motor. So what will be the problem? The problem may be the MCB will be tripped. So if the MCB will be tripped, the supply will be disconnected. If the supply will be disconnected, the switch on the MCB and replace the blown out fuse, ensure the supply voltage. Blown out fuse means if in the motor circuit somewhere the MCB is present, somewhere the fuse is present. So if the fuse is present, so you have to just change the fuse with the good fuse, then the problem may be solved. The loose wire connection or damaged wire, if the inside any wire can be burned out or any types of loose connections are bring there, that's why the voltage are not getting to the motor and motor is not operated, so the circuit breaker is not closing. So the problem can be sought out, or the problem can be overcome by tightening the connections. If the connections will be tightened and replace the wire, the problem may be solved. The mechanism problem, mechanism failure inside it, the latches, different nut bolt, different latches, different dashboard, different types of connections are inside the mechanisms. If there are different types of problems, wear and tears, so you cannot easily solve this mechanism problem, because mechanism problem can be solved by the OEM engineers, and also the OEM engineers, and also if some parts will be damaged, so you have to, if you can replace the parts of the mechanisms will be good and the circuit breaker will be again close. And also the closing spring charge but circuit breaker does not close. here the closing spring has no problems. So the MCB is good in condition, limit switch is good in condition, faulty motors are not there, mechanisms failure are not there, but others different functions are inside this. The non-functional closing release, non-functional. So test the closing release separately and replace if found non-functional. So here the supply to the auxiliary circuit is off or the MCB has stripped. So ensure the supply to the auxiliary circuit and the switching on the MCB. Auxiliary switch contact 52A are open when the circuit breaker is closed. 52A is very important. If the 52A is not in the open condition, the circuit breaker is closed. So the auxiliary switch contact 52A are open when the circuit breaker is closed. Check and adjust the mechanical leakage of the auxiliary switches. Suppose you are just trying to close the circuit breakers, but the 52A of the auxiliary contact is in open conditions. So you cannot close the circuit breaker, because it is also depend on the auxiliary switch functions. If the 52A will be closed, the closing path will be completed. If the closing path will be completed, you are just operating the TNC switch in the closed direction. So the DC 220 volt DC or 110 volt DC, 30 volt DC, whatever be the DC is present in your substation or the power plant, this DC will go to the closing coil, and closing coil will generate the thrust and torque, and that torque will be utilized to bring the circuit breaker to be closed. And the loose connections or the damaged wire, check and repair the necessary as per the necessity. The non-closing command to the terminal 1 and 2 of the 43LR. 43LR is the local and remote switch. So local and remote switch problems may be there. If the local remote problem will be there, you cannot easily close the circuit breaker. So check the continuity and repair as necessary. The closing release, what will be the closing release? Operates sound heard but circuit breaker contact does not close. The mechanism failure. If the mechanism failures are there, you have to check it what types of problem inside it for your knowledge is concerned. But after that you have to contact the OEM, original manufacturers, original equipment manufacturer, OEM. Original equipment manufacturers will provide the technical personnel for the support, because they know what is the problem and how the problem can be solved, because they are the expertise on that types of circuit breaker. So if these types of problem will be there, the circuit breaker cannot be closed. So what will be the problem? Closing spring. The first problem is closing spring does not charge automatically. You have to remember, closing spring charge but circuit breaker does not close. And the closing release operate sound heard but circuit breaker contact does not close. So these types of problem may be there. So in your field, wherever you are working, in a substation or in a power plant, if these types of problem will be there, you can easily sort out the problem. Possible reasons are there. I am giving the possible reason. You have to just identify the possible reasons and how you will take the corrective actions. These types of corrective actions you can take to solve the problem, because the circuit breaker is very important. If you know very well the possible reasons, then you can easily identify or you can easily rectify the problem accordingly. So friend, this is the most important subjects for the substations and for the power plant technical personals. So if you just interested to show my video, please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon for more updated or these types of video that I can provide to my friend for their help in the place of work or in a different area of their life. So friend, if you are interested, please subscribe my channel and obviously share my channel with your friends and colleagues. Thank you very much for watching.